Absolutely true. Once things got out of control for SPT, that's when CE capitalized on it, and we do indeed see the main tank player Wind as our MVP, which is definitely the right call. Not only did he find those sweet spots there to really open up the game again for his team, but he also had some really good surviving moments, right? Especially in that top lane near the vision tower when the enemy team recklessly engaged upon him. He kept his cool, you know, and he found the good counterplay. So, Wind, well played, after not really looking all that strong in map 1 and 2.
Volskaya Foundry. This is the map that this season SPT have had the most difficulty on. Could CE be taking us to a game number 5? If it was going to be any map that they can try to, it's going to be this one.
Absolutely true. We have seen many teams succeed on Volskaya Foundry, especially the A team, if you guys remember their crazy run, finishing several series successfully on that map. And as you said, Tetcher, several teams have also faltered on this map, one of them being SPT. Not really the greatest of success rates on this battleground, but maybe they've improved on it, maybe they have worked on their weaknesses here. And quite honestly, in terms of team fighting, I think in this series they look superior. So if only they work on their late game issues of positioning and face checking, I think they should be fine.
So now then, Malfurion coming in as first pick for SPT. Once again, Alufal's hero pool gets slightly attacked with the Genji and the Phoenix being banned away. So they're going to pick Hanzo. No, they're not. They're going to finally get that Yorel for KTY, but they leave Alufal down the pack. Reina and Hanzo are sort of all that's really left for Alufal.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to basically gamble upon, right? So they, first of all, they need to hope that Reina doesn't get picked immediately by SPT. And then, which, okay, that's already a good thing. And now they need to hope that SPT doesn't ban it out, because SPT realizes that it's going to be CE's turn to pick first after these second bans. So let's see how much they're willing to actually tackle the hero pool of Alufal. I mean, there's always other heroes that Alufal could fall back on. We have seen them on certain specialists already, like Medivh or Abathur, just in case they wanted to go down that route.
Yeah, and we see Sergeant Hammer getting banned out. Forgot about her, but that's fair. Once again, to reiterate, this is SPT's second worst map of this season. Since they brought in Lucky into the roster, they only have 2 maps, 50% or lower win rate. Alufal does get that Reina, by the way. But they have the Volskaya Foundry, which is on a 50% win rate, which is absurdly low for them. However, there is another map that they have a lower win rate on, and that is Towers of Doom with a 0% win rate after 3 games.
And now you know why they banned that map against CE. We feel very, very comfortable on this. And what is SPT doing?
Classic. Classic. Bringing it to the final series. They decide, well, not the final series. It could be the final game. They're going to try and close it out with a good old-fashioned double support Valor. Hypercarry Valor. It's back.
And
at least one game.
That wasn't supposed to sound negative on my part, but I'm just so surprised to see them bank their hopes on this classic 2016 double support Vala composition. And immediately, the counter response here is that Cassia.
Okay, so quick point here, quick point of order. They tried this against CE the last time they played each other. They literally tried going for a double support Valor using the Decade Cane instead of the Malfurion. It was Valor, Tassadar, Muradin, Junkrat. This time they've gone for another frontliner to try and protect even more. CE, what they brought against it was Yorel, Johanna, and Cassia. The slight variation there being that they had the Malfurion and they had Phoenix, now swapping those out for the Reina and the Decade Cane as the supports were swapped. But this is almost the exact same matchup as CE have already won. The only difference being that this time, SPT have brought another frontliner. That could be the difference, though.
I think so, too. If you remember back to the golden days, you know, the glorious era of the double support Vala, it was always played with double frontline, right? You never had a solo tank and then another secondary front backliner, or let's say a squishy melee assassin like Malthael. It was always bruiser, tank, double support Vala. And maybe with that, you know, change in roster, change in roles, it could actually work this time around. But they willingly picked it into a Johanna, and they had to expect the Cassia as the last pick, which already has decent synergy with those blinds, you know, and the Johanna. So it was basically SPT saying, we believe in our composition, we believe in the power it has, and we're trying to brute force it through our opponents.
Well, let's see as we are heading into game number 4, potentially the last one, as SPT look to close out the series. They are on the left-hand side with Lucky bringing out the Valor, Merly on the Tassadar, Misaka on Garrosh, Soap on the Blaze, and ZTH is on Malfurion.
All right, and facing them is Challenge, winning that last game and still having a strong footing in that series. With Alufal on the Rainer, Wind is playing on the Johanna, 365 on Deckard, KTY is in that Irel, and Juyu, last but not least, fills in as Cassia. And there's two things that make me feel very worried about SPT. First of all, KTY is back on Irel. That is without a doubt one of his best heroes, and the hero itself is pretty darn strong at the moment. And then it is the double blind against Vala. True, Vala doesn't just have to rely on auto attacks all the time. She has ability damage as well, but if her auto attacks are getting, slowed down, blinded, she struggles with building up hatred. She's not going to be able to deal consistent damage, and that could be a little bit of a problem. Also, I'm not really sure how they're trying to kill KTY on that Irel, right? With the low damage, low burst damage that they have available.
This has always been the problem with double support comps. The fact is, damage output, if your hyper carry is zoned away, or if the enemy sustain, which in this case it is very good, is too much for you, then that's where the comps start to fall apart. This is a very sustaining comp. Johanna and Yrel, both with great self-sustain. Reyna self-healing. Deckard Cain can drop potions on himself. Cassia has the physical armor. They are incredibly sustaining, but SPT can potentially try to last out these fights. They have the bunker. They have Merly on Tassadar, which we already know is basically equivalent to any other legendary hero combo. It may be a hero that we would like to see him on others because we know his skill is so high, but the fact is the Tassadar works for him because he's so good at it.
Yeah, and also Tassadar in the late game, once he gains access to double storms and once his Sign Fusion at level 1 is completed, he is more like a mage actually, because those storms, they hit pretty hard. They provide decent wave clear as well, so you can always dominate those lanes as a Tassadar in the late game. And, maybe with cheeky force wall play, you can actually isolate certain heroes, you can shut down the follow-up. But on the flip side, if they realize, you know what, we need more punching power, we need more damage, the Archon is certainly a possibility too.
So now, with Wind holding down the line, at least for the moment, against Soap, he's trying to hold the lanes. 365 with that healing pulse already, as they did cap that early, as we did see. It's going to delay the camp capture. See if we can time it with the objective, which so far has yet to activate. Blaze rotates away from top lane. Might be a good time for Deckard to capture it.
We see a standard W build, by the way, coming out for Lucky on that Vala up to this point. Juyu doesn't really care about getting flung by Garrosh all too much. Too good is that, physical damage reduction, and too good is the sustain coming in from Deckard Cain.
Behemoth armor coming in for Reyna, very much like this. These fights are meant to last a long time. This means Reyna is going to be able to gain huge amounts of extra bonus hit points. And of course, it also means that without the extra burst damage that doesn't exist for SPT, he doesn't need the armor as much. So this makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does. And this is probably one of the best case scenarios for that Rainer to go for this Behemoth armor. As you said, these fights are going to take a long time, especially SPT is probably going to try to out-sustain their opponents eventually. Misaka now tanking a couple of those shots, bouncing back and forth here on that border to the capture point. Lucky with a pretty okay position now, gets blinded, but continues to deliver the damage. Gets dangerously close actually to Cassia and Johanna, but here comes the shield, and he's going to try to leech up back from it.
Cassia runs for some potions that Deckard has been placing very carefully around the battlefield. So far, everyone is here for CE as Reyna rotates down from above as well. Finally, Soaprise for SPT. Both teams with all their players here. Blaze spent a little bit extra time in top lane, clearing out the Merc camp before his team grabbed theirs. So we're going to see that top lane begin to push him for SPT as they begin to try and hold the point. Win with the double pull in here as Alufal charges forward, turret down, zoning away Soap as he eats the damage, and with the help of the turret, they kill him off.
Yeah, so there were several problems in this fight, right? First of all, ZTH is currently in control of that turret. He has refused to actually plant it up to this point, whereas C did. And that turret, while it doesn't really deal a whole lot of damage, it's a nice distraction tool, right? It also blocks the movement of enemy heroes. It intercepts skill shots as well. So I don't really know why ZTH refuses still to use it, even now when they are trying to make that play happen. Now he actually walks into Yrel, gets completely zoned out. Nope, just stubbornly continues his march towards the bottom lane to get that soak in.
Reyna's not here. He's busy clearing out top lane as Tassadar rotated up there very quickly to get a little bit of extra push value with that mercenary camp. Turret could now be put down. This is the contested. Good interrupt by Yrel though, trying to prevent that from happening. as we see Cassia dropping crazy damage output. The healing pulse dropped. They force SPT off the point. And even though they don't pick up the kill, they do pick up the protector. And ZZH is either the most patient support, or he just forgot he had a healing pulse because, a turret, because that turret could have been used there. But instead, they decided to wait it out and use it later.
Honestly, I think he just forgot about it. Or maybe he just thought it wasn't safe for him to go in this reckless position, right, to drop it down. Because if you're a Malfurion support, then you don't really want to face the enemy's Johanna. You don't really want to face the enemy's Urel, just to, you know, deliver the perfect sweet spot for that turret zoning out the enemies. But I agree with you. He should have used that a long time ago. What good is the turret right now? It does nothing for you. It can't be used to defend against the protector. It's not really that good when it comes to securing other objectives like mercenary camps. So yeah, you could really see the difference. Right, the turret was used on the side of CE. They also were able to sneak in the healing pulse, and as a result, they took this first protector with pretty much great ease.
And they still got a couple turrets, and as such, a couple towers, sorry, and as such, CE do have a full level lead right now, and it's approaching level 10. They think about starting the healing pulse, the healing camp, but decide against it. But now SPT are putting the pressure onto it. Will CE try and raid this, or will they just give it over and commit to the fact that they will have level 10 first and try and make the play around this? Looks like they kind of want to interrupt. Cassia gets stunned out several times, actually, so the armor is getting denied. Good pull-in, and SPT gets shredded. Healing Pulse stolen away as Alufal just farms Misaka for stacks at this point.
Beautifully done there, especially by Wind getting the 4-man condemn into there. Now KTY is on the chase. He takes down Garrosh in full Warlords of Draenor fashion. And yeah, I don't know what SPT was thinking there. Like, they tried to make the engage happen, right? With that, you know, force attempt at the healing pulse camp. But to get engaged upon on so easily by Johanna with a 4-man condemn, the Sins exposed there as well with all that bonus damage. It was just crazy.
Valor begins working on some mercenary camps because they need some kind of counter pressure. Because CE, right now, with that healing pulse taken, they begin working on their own turret camp. They are beginning to farm those items, exactly what they want to do. They have a healing pulse. This is going to be their second, maybe third turret. Actually, yeah, Rain is the one who grabbed the healing pulse, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to have 2 turrets and a healing pulse in their back pocket. So they're going to have a great amount of fighting potential when it comes to this next objective.
Yeah, already, like, SPTs with their backs against the wall, you know, being down 2 levels already, and those 3 items in possession of CE, it's not going to make things any easier.
2. They don't have the healing pulse. I guess they must have dropped it early.
I think they might have actually used it in that team fight then. Like, they stole it away from SPT and used it immediately.
One team fight. Johanna was grabbing it as they were chasing down Garrosh.
Oh, actually,
Blaze has one. Did Blaze steal that, or is that just from before? No, because they used the one before. Did Blaze steal the healing pulse?
I think he did. And nobody of us noticed. So at least a little bit of victory for SPT. That's actually quite nice.
If that's what happened, that's absurd. Blaze, though, with a healing pulse. Fantastic news for SPT. Good for them. And CE, they just clear up the mercenary camp of their opponents and begin to put pressure onto this top lane.
Now, Tetcher, they just need to use it. Use the items in time so you force your enemies back. However, even if they were to make something happen right now near the objective, right, it's such a long mile to walk for them until they even turn 13. So there's 2 scenarios, right? SPT gives up this protector yet again and tries to get 13 themselves, or maybe with the help of that healing pulse, they have enough bravery and courage to take a fight with a talent down.
And with the objective beginning to spawn, SPT, they would obviously not like to take that fight with the talent down, but if they want to contest the objective, they kind of have to. But with that healing pulse, they at least have a chance to try and sustain through it. And once again, their comp's all about the sustain. And the Avengers used on Juyu, but they're able to trade out a good amount of damage, but Valor eats damage from Alufal.
That it is, and for the most part, you know, Irel hasn't actually been part of this fight, and I think SPT realized, you know what, if they get this protector, we're going to lose so many structures, so we might as well just fight here. No, they're actually trying to go for the Rainer, who's a little isolated from the rest of his team. 2 members actually sleeping. The bunker dropped down immediately, but not in time.
Damage output pretty good. Rainer and Cassia bursting through the members there. Double kill is achieved. Task finished Sight Infusion, good for him. But this healing pulse now going to be taken by CE. They only used 1 turret? No, they used 2. They used both turrets. So they're going to be able to grab the protector though, grab a healing pulse, and they're going to be able to grab experience as Urel rotates back down to the bot lane.
SPT, Tetra, they just look so indecisive in those team fights right now, right? You might expect, okay, the way they actually posture progressively at the beginning of the team fight. You're like, okay, they're going to commit one talent down, but maybe with the healing pulse they can do it. Then they back off, and then they reinitiate again, trying to get an isolated Rainer without succeeding in it because they don't have a pick comp. They have double support sustain comp. So, I don't know. This is going to be so hard for them to come back from.
Really is. With Urel double soaking here, getting them even more of an advantage. Looks like SPT 3-13 still. They're trying desperately to soak it with this lane. Urel's on the way, Tass is on the way. Looks like they might just try and contest this, but it's too late. They don't tap the point, and as such, the Protector is already online.
Protector's online. Johanna's in it, joined now by Cassia on that secondary pilot seat, and already this Protector is going to hurt. It's going to deal with this fort like it was made out of paper, and now Lucky in trouble. He could actually fall there. Like, that Protector is going to melt Squishy Backlanders. Now they try to get Rainer. Taunt and silence. Even that one is not enough to kill him.
Garrosh finishes him off, though, with that Groundbreaker. Nice little pickup there. And maybe some Protector juggling might have worked there, but it was pretty tight time no matter what.
So that is, you know, halting and slowing down the advance of CE just a little bit. Luful probably got a little bit too greedy over there. Look at Vala. Lucky trying to chunk down that Immortal to the best of her ability.
We hold the line, at least for the moment. Protector trades out damage. They're already low on health, only 24 seconds left. Just fires off a couple Gatling gun shots. Unlucky. Room lands, actually. They dive pretty deep. Tass is nowhere near. Mafia and healing, though, is enough this time, and Gloom also protects a fair amount from the damage. It was activated here.
That is correct. The spell armor is definitely very useful when it comes to, you know, surviving that protective burst damage. Also, Lucky dodging these miniguns, dodging the salvo there quite nicely. And the Protector is now, you know, expired anyways. Now, Lucky, the hunter becomes the hunted here. Cassia and Johanna both trying to get this Vala, but they find a Garrosh instead. Once again, the bunker not able to save people in need.
Ball Lightning coming out, gets some decent spread. Finally, they split, though, as ZZH taken out. Sleep only really on Soap, but he's able to dash away as he's woken up very quickly. Here comes the knockback from Alupul, who's dropping low. They both teams dropping their healing pulses, and the turret was dropped by SPT as well to drive back CE, which it does succeed in doing, but it's still a double kill going over to CE in exchange for nothing.
Absolutely true, and it turns out that the single support comp is out-sustaining and overpowering the double support. Welcome to 2018, SPT, and that is not looking good at all. KTY for the majority of this time actually already rotating down to the bottom, destroying 2 more towers, making it a 3-level lead, and stealing away the the turret on the side of SPT. On top of that, the icing on the cake.
CE rotating down to bot lane. They would love to preset this up for the next Protector, which, as you can already see on the mini-map, it's going to be the CE capture point, which means it's going to be spawning in the bottom lane. So this would be the shortest route of push. But for the meantime, CE, it's time to gather items, time to farm, as they were thinking about the healing pulse, but instead choose the turret because they see SPT creeping about.
Wind in trouble. Can they burst the Johanna finally? I don't think they can. It is SPT's Misaka who gets blown to pieces yet again.
Ironskin barely saves Wind after that engagement there, and the turret steal attempt for SPT is completely shut down. KTY casually 1v3s.
Yeah. And that is the name of the game, right? We talked about this, Tetra, during the draft. Do they have enough damage to take down Anirel? She is so powerful at the moment. She's already hard to take down, even if you have dedicated, you know, tank slicers, like, let's say, a Malthael or like a Tychus. Without any of these percentage damage deliverers, I think it's going to be nigh impossible for them to actually kill them. And you mentioned this as well, right? This is a composition that SPT has tried to run against CE in the past, and they didn't ban out the heroes that they struggled with.
I don't know. They keep trying this. It's like CE continuing to bring out the Asmodan. They
Yes.
lost because of SPT's mistakes last game. Now SPT are purposely picking heroes that they already know just didn't work, thinking it was a fluke, but they're playing in the exact same way and getting shut down in the exact same way.
All right, at least there is a little bit of a power spike happening in favor of SPT right now. The double storms are active for the next team fight. That means more damage onto Cassia, for example. Better wave clear altogether as well. But if you look at that, how many of those structures are still available for CE? SPT wasn't able to get anything done up to this point in terms of sieging. Now Lucky might actually get that tower. There we go. Needs to be careful though of that Cassia.
Cassie's going to be tossed in, though, with the Thorn. Good damage onto Cassie, who's silenced as well. Tries to escape, drops the healing pulse, and Zuyu's just walked into the back line and murdered everyone. They turn it round. Soap is dead. Luful finishes off Garrosh. And that was the most savage turnaround I have ever seen.
I mean, it's like every other Cassia player, it seems, would have probably panicked, right? And tried to get to safety, tried to run back to his support and like, heal me, I need them heals. But look at Zuyu's confidence and his map
stun, silence, backs up, dodges the root, healing pulse, turns around and dives, and immediately just picks up a triple kill. That is gorgeous. Absolutely love it.
Full honey badger mode, not caring about the odds, no matter how, you know, negative they might have looked on the outside, because he was fully aware of his own self-sustain, you know, with that Rig of the Leech at level 4, the bouncing ball of lightnings, wonderfully done there overall, and just great turnaround by CE. A full team wipe, 20.5 now against 70. That's how far ahead CE is, and if nothing changes, and I don't think much is going to change, Center, I think this is probably going to be their second win of the day.
I think you might be right. We might be heading to a game number 5 unless we can see SPT coming off the defense. We're going to have a little bit of a pilot and gunner juggling coming in from CE, but trying to make it the most optimum setup. Keeping it Johanna and Cassia inside it this time.
Looks like SPT is trying to find an opening from the flanks, from behind, but CE, they're already too far ahead, 2 steps ahead of their opponents. They realize, you know what?
Core. They're back.
We're going core. We're not going to siege up for a keep so you can backdoor us or you can flank us from behind. We're going to the core, you know, where things are very predictable for us to face. They're just toying with them at this point.
This is absolutely a mind game style thing. They've managed to force SPT out of doing any kind of sneaky wraparound plays. Now they can move in at their own pace. They waited for Yorel to join as well. Lucky going to get CC'd here. Reyna casually burns down Misaka, one of the tankiest tanks in the game, as the Protector begins to burn down the core. Currently, only Soap is dealing with this, and should really turn around and reprioritize SPT. They finally do. Stay one listen is used. Reyna getting dropped down. Protector's half health, as is the core. Lucky needs to start burning that down. Melee moves forward, and a casual win there coming in for CE, able to take game number 4. We're heading to a game number 5, Kendrick.
All right, the reverse sweep, ladies and gentlemen. We're 1 step away from it. CE has stabilized, and not only that, they've put in a stim drone and basically overcome SPT in that second game in the most